This is John for the Everyday Fan Sports. Tonight I have the pleasure of being on the beat with professional hockey player Kassidy Sauve. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for your time. I know right now you're playing for the Buffalo Beauts of the Premier Hockey Federation, but I'd like to take it back to your hockey origins. When did you start playing and how did you start playing?
I started playing when I was around 4 or 5. I actually got figure skates for Christmas. And my brother got hockey skates, and I turned to my parents and said, "No, I want those," and pointed to his. So I think within an hour, like the next day or whatever, my parents went to Canadian Tire and got me the same skates as my brother, and that's how it all started. I think I just wanted to be like him.
Okay. So when you started playing hockey, you were playing on boys' teams, right?
Yeah.
And were there, forgive my ignorance, but were there girl teams? Was that an option back then?
Um, Not where, so we lived in Montreal at the time. And I actually was lucky enough to play with my brother because we were just a year apart. So they combined age groups at that time. So I don't think there was any girls teams, but it kind of worked out for my parents having only to commute once to the rink, I guess.
And were you the only girl on the team then?
There was throughout the years I played with a couple other girls. As I got older and kind of girls started to switch over to the girls side, I ended up being the only one in the last couple of years of playing.
And like, how were you treated by either by your teammates or the opposition?
Yeah, my teammates were great. Honestly, like I know that's probably not an easy situation, especially when you're 14, 15 years old and there's a girl on your team. My teammates were great. Um, the opposition sometimes would give me chirps here and there, but I know it was all in fun, and my teammates always got them back good. So, and sometimes I'd mix in my own little chirp back at them too.
And you'd stop all the pucks, which would certainly help.
I would try to. It's easier to chirp when you actually stop the puck, I guess.
And then when did you switch over to playing on women's teams? Was that in college?
No, I switched over when I was 16, I think. Yeah, grade 11.
Was there a specific reason?
With the national program in Canada, you have to be affiliated with like a provincial branch on the women's side. So, just like for the best interest of kind of going for those goals and trying out for Team Ontario and Team Canada, I had to be affiliated with a female team. And I think it was at that point too where I knew that I was probably going to a college in the U.S. and I needed to adjust to the women's game because it is quite different.
How so different? I mean, especially as a goalie, I would think it's like a whole different angle than just as a regular skater.
Yeah, a lot. The big difference I noticed kind of at that age was obviously the shot speed is different. There are some girls that can absolutely rip the puck, but there's just such a variety of shots. And girls I noticed in my first probably 10 to 15 games are incredibly intelligent when it comes to playmaking. Guys will come in and shoot it as hard as they can, and girls will make that extra pass. And I actually had a hard time adjusting to that because I would always be expecting the shot, and then there'd be like the most random backdoor tap in goal or something like that. So
And now you played, obviously, as you just mentioned, you played on the international level. Is there a difference? Obviously, I know there's a difference in style of play, but as a goalie, is there a difference in preparing for international play versus, regular league play or regular college play?
yeah, I do think so. Maybe not college, but definitely minor hockey wise. When you go to national camps and stuff, everyone's good. Everyone deserves to be there. Everyone's talented. Everyone kind of eats, sleeps, and breathes hockey. So, your every shot you're getting, every play that you're playing against is going to be elite. So that definitely, you have to elevate your game when you go to those camps and stuff because it is a different level and a different type of compete.
And when did you know that you were, let's not be too humble. When did you know that you were pretty good, that you could actually make it on whatever level?
Uh, I I don't know. Probably I would say in my last year of boys hockey. I was the only girl playing at that point in my league, and I had kind of become the starting goalie on our team. And I think at that point I was like, oh wow, like this is actually not going so bad. Like I'm doing pretty good. So yeah, I think at that point is where I really focused in on kind of knowing that I wanted to be a goalie and I wanted to do it in the NCAA and with the national team. So that's kind of when I started to really dial it in and spend a lot more time on just hockey.
Do you know how much your equipment weighs about?
I don't. I've always wanted to actually go on a scale and see, but I would say probably like now it's so light, probably like I would say tops 15 pounds.
Okay, that's not too bad then.
Yeah.
Okay. So like, did you have to, obviously, along with your regular workouts for hockey, did you kind of have to, especially when you were younger, did you have to really work out to be able to deal with all the equipment?
No, I guess once you're used to it, it's not too bad. I honestly don't even notice it anymore. But I think for a goalie, especially, it's like focusing on the little things like mobility and flexibility, and just being able to get into really awkward body positions more than anything.
How would you describe your goalie style?
I would say I'm more hybrid. If I need to stay on my feet, I'll stay on my feet, and if I need to make a reactionary save in my butterfly, I'll do that as well.
And then do you watch other goalies like to get their styles down or to learn
Yeah,
from them?
yeah. When I was younger, especially, now I feel like by the time you're this age, like everyone has their own style. But when I, excuse me, when I was younger, I I really looked up to Charlene Labonte and still do. But when I was younger, would try and like mimic my play to play like her because I just thought she was remarkable.
And were you a fan of the NHL too, I assume, being in Canada?
Yeah, yeah, I was. I was a huge Ed Belfour fan when he was with the Toronto Maple
Now,
Leafs.
wait a
So
minute. Ed Belfour was in Chicago first. I gotta
yeah,
say that.
I liked him when he was with the Leafs.
But yeah, I mean, he was a Hall of Famer and obviously one of the
Yeah,
greatest. So he
yeah,
like, would he be like your male equivalent of your male hockey goalie guy?
yeah, for sure.
And do you still follow hockey? Or obviously, you still follow hockey. Do you still
Yeah,
follow the NHL closely?
yeah. Honestly, more so now, just because there are a lot of players I played with and against growing up that are in the NHL now. So I like to keep tabs on them and see how they're doing.
So I have to ask you the question then, because I know what I think, but I want to hear what you think. Can a woman play in the NHL at some point? Maybe not right
Uh,
now.
maybe someone like Poulain or Hillary Knight. But I do think like we have a good thing going on the women's side. And I think that the game is so different without the body contact that while they could do it, there's honestly at this point no reason to because the game is growing on the women's side. And I do think eventually it'll be like viable enough and people will want to watch it more.
Would you say that would it be easier for a skater or a goalie? Do you think to because I know like the one goalie Manon Rayom played in an exhibition game somewhere year probably before you were born, but
Yeah.
somewhere in the '90s. But do you think there'd be a an advantage either way for a skater versus a goalie?
I think a goalie would have an advantage. I mean, normally in the summer, I skate with guys and I find it actually benefits my game. It makes me quicker. It makes my, hand-eye coordination better. For a female, it is different. There's that natural speed difference, whether we like it or not. So I think a goalie would for sure be easier.
And you mentioned that the women's sport is growing. I thought that was interesting that you said, perhaps women wouldn't even want to play in the NHL right now because the women's sport is growing. Tell me a little bit about. I know you play for the Buffalo Beauts. Like, how many games do you guys play? What is the setup like? What's the season like?
Yeah, we had a weird first half. We had canceled because of a storm in Buffalo. So we should have had a couple more in the first half, but normally I think it's like 30 regular season games plus playoffs. I know they've built on that every year, where they add games, they add teams. So but yeah, it's a pretty normal schedule. Like we practice Tuesday through Friday, play on the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. And then Mondays are usually our off day, go to the recovery center, get some treatment, all that. So
And I'm not asking for specifics, but it is a professional league. You guys do get paid. Just like to make that clear to
yeah.
everybody. which is well
Yeah.
ahead of what happened. Like when I was young, when I was your age, there was no professional women's hockey league that I know of. So I think this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, how long do you plan on playing? Do you have a set thing in
Uh,
mind?
you know what? I was set on playing until I'm 32 because that's my jersey number, and I thought that would
Okay.
be fun. But I don't know. I mean, at this point, I'm going to take it year to year. Our salary cap continues to increase, and obviously, it's not all about the money, but it is a good reason to stick around. But yeah, I mean, I think I have a good 6 to 8 years left in the tank.
Well, that's good. Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you've done a little bit of coaching. Is coaching in your future? Do you think at all?
Yeah, I would love to coach. I do a lot in the summer. I like to be involved with younger goalies in the Toronto area, and help them and kind of be a resource for them. It's tougher during the season for sure, just because I mean, at the end of the day, this is our job during the season. But I would love to, at the end of playing, be able to give back more to hockey, especially young females being goalies. So
No, I don't know a whole lot of. I know in the NHL they can do it. Do you guys have the ability to customize your masks at all in terms of like?
yeah,
Do you have
yeah,
anything
we do.
special on yours? Is there any significance to it?
The front part, I kind of just let the designer work his magic. I told him what I wanted, kind of theme wise. And then the back plate is where I focus most of my attention. I have the birth years of my parents, my brother, and myself. I have both my grandma's birth years, and then I have my two nieces' initials on the back as well. So a little bit more personalized and just like a good reminder that they're always there with me as well. And then I have, I think, "Bet on yourself" as the quote on the back plate. So
Very nice, very nice. When you're playing out there, obviously during the game, you're focused on the game, but during an off period or like intermission or whatever, do you ever get to soak it in and go like, wow, I'm really doing this. This is like my dream and I'm living it?
yeah, my first game playing with Buffalo, I remember at one point, I think it was between the second and third period. Well, before that, I looked at my parents in the stands during warm up, and I got super emotional. But then I was thinking back on that between the second and third period, and I was just like, I'm like so lucky to be here and to be able to do this, and see women's hockey growing and women's professional sports in general. It's honestly like it still has a long way to go, don't get me wrong, but I never would have thought I would see my mom and dad watching me play professional hockey, and actually making money doing so.
They've got to be proud too. I mean, just to see their daughter down there doing it, it's got to be fantastic for them as well.
Yeah, yeah, they're definitely my number one fans.
So what's next for you after you're done playing, whether it's when you're 32 or beyond? Is coaching your plan, or do you have other plans for other profession and then coaching is on the side?
Yeah, I'm really into like content creation, graphic design, and photography. Those are kind of, I feel like I'm a pretty creative mind, so I would ideally love to do something along those lines in professional sport. Um, and then coach on the side or be involved in minor hockey on the side in some capacity. But yeah, I think as much as I love hockey, I do really excel in creativity. So I feel like that's the path I kind of want to go.
Well, I wish you much luck, and I appreciate your time. Before I let you go, is there any place you want to tell people they can follow either you or the team or anything online?
Yeah, they can follow our team at Buffalo Beauts on Instagram, and then my handle is at Kassidy Sauve, I think.
I will make sure I'll put up the right one up there on the screen.
Yeah,
So we'll be good with that. Cassie, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
of
I'm a big
course.
supporter of women's sports. I especially love hockey. I wish that you guys played a little closer to Chicago because I would be out there all the time. But I
Hey, you
appreciate
never
it.
know if they'll add a team there in the
Hey,
future.
if they ever expand here, you will see me in the crowd. I guarantee you.
Sounds
But I
good.
really appreciate your time. I wish you good luck, and I hope that we could do an update with you down the line in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. You have a great night.
You too.
Bye bye.
Bye.